What's up, how's everybody doing? In today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that I think is very important. It's going to be very important to a lot of people, and it's a conversation I just had with my friend Jeff. Now, my friend Jeff is a small-time contractor, landscaper on there, runs a small business, just like me. And sometimes we take just 15, 30 minutes. Sometimes they go off for like an hour. And just talking about our experiences in business, all the things that we've dealt with, and all the good, the bad, and all the ugly things. We talk about all those things because in business, we've all had those multiple situations where they've been very good and they've also been tough. And it's always good to get an insight from how other people are seeing some of these situations play out. So one big part of the conversation that we were talking about is, some of the clients and people we've dealt with in our business, and there's been some really excellent reoccurring customers that he's done business with. And he was telling me a story about, particularly about a lady who, when she calls, he answers the phone at any time because she knows she's gonna need extra work at her house, and he responds to her quickly, but probably following up with the next day, going to her house, getting a quote, and getting that job scheduled on there. And that's exactly how I operate my business too. If you're a client who I've serviced and who's watching this video, knows that as soon as I get a call from you, text, email, or anything, I'm going to be responding to that. I'm going to be stopping everything I'm doing, and I'm going to respond to it as quickly as I can, because I know that service matters, and I know if I serviced before to you in the past, then I'm going to continue to service to you in the future as well. And that's super important to understand by those concepts. It's because when those customers call you, you've already built that relationship, so you've really built that trust with them. And we were talking about that because I have situations like that also. When clients call me up, I move on that as quickly as I can, especially with clients, like I mentioned, that we've already done business before. I mean, everybody's important. Even new clients are important, but those reoccurring customers are golden. And sometimes I've serviced them 3, 4 times, and sometimes many times I've serviced them, and they call me back to do more work on there. So that's what we were talking about. And there's also an ugly situation, in this business. There's everything. You're gonna find good, bad, and ugly. And there's some ugly situations where, he was also telling me where he was working with a general contractor, builder, not to mention any names or throw anybody under the bus. And this person was doing all kinds of shady stuff on there. He was doing agreements with him with deals to do work, and he wasn't abiding by his agreement or by the deals that they were making. And he wanted all this work done and wasn't getting paid for all that work. And that happens, because as a business owner, as a person in small business, I believe in good faith. I operate in good faith. And that's exactly what the country is, right? When the country, look, one example is when they sell debt, they always say that everything is backed by the good faith of the United States, right? It's backed by the good faith. So I see everything as a good faith when I make a deal or make an agreement with somebody. If the other person doesn't want to comply to that agreement and to that deal, that's not really my problem. But I'm a person who, when I grew up, throughout my whole experience, I live by my word. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That's why I'm really careful to what I say, because I know the type of things that I follow is complying to my word. I operate in good faith, but not everybody operates in that good faith. Unfortunately, that's just the world we're going to live in. That's not going to change. There's going to be really great people. There's great people everywhere. There's great people around the world. There's very bad people too. You're going to encounter really bad people, and hopefully those bad people can turn into good people. But you're also going to get a handful of just ugliness. And those situations are where you're going to learn the most. And that tells you how to be more careful, I'm a person, education and everything, and those that have seen my channel, I based everything I say or anything that the viewer watches based on an experience and conversations I have with other individuals. So if you're listening to this conversation, like I mentioned, there's always something important. There's always a topic, a message, or something that can be extremely important to you and relatable to you in your world. person watching, right? And I make a video content because I try to be I consider myself good at expressing all these type of things, these experiences. I just consider myself a natural when it comes to making video and expressing these type of things and experiences in the best possible way. And these are things that like I mentioned, I talked to my friend Jeff. There's a lot of clients that you're going to service that are excellent. They're the best clients in there, but you're going to have a handful of the other ones as well. So how you deal with those situations is super important, you know? Like I mentioned, and I said I'm a person of my word. I love verbal agreements. But sometimes, like I said, people don't apply to those verbal agreements. Then you have to get it in writing. That's why I believe in email communication, writing everything down. You know, let's say, one example, John, we agreed to $800 verbally. We shake on that, but then send out an email to John saying, hey, John, today we talked about this. We verbal agreement. We're $800 extra for this type of work. Have that documentation written up, you know, and even the time where it was said and everything, you know, and get somebody also a form, change order form or proposal contract, whatever, to sign a form too. Signature gives it more backup, you know. So verbal is great. Back it up with verbal. That's what I'm, you know, there's situations where I did verbal, but I didn't back it up with written. I remember it, they're in my head. But sometimes people, I don't know, have the tendency to forget or whatever. But it's always good to back it up with a written there and even a signature. And that's very important. That's what I learned in business. And that's something we were talking about with my friend Jeff, you know. Let's back it up with, have it written. You know, have it written so that way it's also an agreement and a contract that's respected by both parties, right? You know. And that's the whole big part about doing business. We have to look at that legal way. That's why it's out there. So that way we don't get screwed over, you know. That's the way we protect ourselves. But I'm still a person who loves verbal agreements. I like to shake on it because, like I said, I'm a person of my word. I'm old school. I'm only 34 years old, but I still like the old school way of, hey man, if I'm going to do something for you, we agree on this. Great. Let's do a verbal agreement. But now, with the world that we live in, we have to write it down. We have to record it on there. So just for extra protection, that's just the way it is. But that's just the things we have to live with, you know. But it's always super important, guys. Remember this. What did you pick up from this video? That there's great people, great, excellent clients to always service them really well. There's always going to be a handful of bad clients, bad people. That's just going to happen. You know, with good people, there's always bad people and ugly people on there that are just going to be screwing people over. That just happens on there. As much as we would love to see everybody being very, very good and doing everything honestly, the world would definitely be a different place if that really happened. But we have to understand, as humans, as business owners, as leaders, as everything, there's always going to be all kinds of people with fitting into those categories that I just mentioned. So that's one thing to remember, guys. Don't get down because there's some bad people. Trust me, I've experienced a lot of those people, and I have a video where I talk about that experiences that I have, because it's always good to know that even on the outside everything might look pretty and perfect, but on the inside there's a whole different game that I like to mention, because I like for people to know there's also another side of running a business, which is great. I think I recommend anybody, and I advocate for anybody to have a small business. It's the best thing you can do, right? It is the best thing you can do, especially if this country allows you to do that, to do it. So remember, guys, also to end this video is to get the things written down, and so that way it just provides extra protection, layers of protection for you and the client or the person you're trying to service. So remember that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope these topics and stuff that I mentioned help you out. And if they do, great. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video. Now I'm heading over to Cottage Grove, working on 56 rooms to touch up for a reoccurring customer. And that's another thing. Remember, those reoccurring customers, and you really service them again, and you'll service them good, and they'll continue to call you for more work. See you there.